What's up, YouTube? It's me, the Artisan MC, and today I'm going to give you a reaction to Ekko by Marvel Studios. Now, I watched this show in one sitting. Woke up early Saturday morning, made some breakfast, made myself a drink, sat down and watched this series to just get through it. Now, I wasn't having very high expectations for this series from the jump. And the nature of that is more so because I believe they just forced this character out there. The character in and of itself is not that old. It's only created like 1999. So it hasn't been around long enough to be forced into the limelight, so to speak, at this point. They passed up other characters to do this one. So I'm not really feeling that aspect of it. I didn't think on the face, just of the comic book character itself, it wasn't too interesting. I didn't think it was interesting enough to have their own show right off the bat. But yet and still, the MCU decided to go ahead and do the show. Now, the Ekko character in the Hawkeye show, I thought was fine. I just thought the whole thing with the deaf amputee was a put on or a stunt. I wasn't sure if they were CGing the person's leg or what. Turns out the actress, what is it, Alaka Cox, she is actually deaf and is actually an amputee. Now, she is a cute woman, but from this show, you wouldn't get that because she has the same blank expression throughout the whole show. And that kind of wears on me after a point because if I'm going to accept the fact that you are deaf and you're an actress, I'm going to need to see some emotion out of you facially. I don't think everything should just be wide eyes and blank canvas. It doesn't really fit too much. I think I'm going to need a little bit more from you to know what's going on in your internal world since you can't hear the exterior world. That's going to make me have more of a bond to this character. And I can say this, for the most part, I understood where the character should be at certain moments, but I didn't see it. Didn't see it at all. Now, beyond that, there are some actors in this series that I really like Chesky Spencer. I like him. You guys have heard me talk about the series The English on Amazon Prime with Emily Blunt. He played the character Eli Whip. I love that character. Love it. Right? It took me a little bit to find out that he was actually in Twilight too. I was like, oh wow, really? As soon as I saw a picture, I was like, yep, that's him. Recognized him off the bat. Now, other actors like Graham Greene, I've watched him for years. I like him. The other character, the other actress, excuse me, Tatooine, I'm forgetting her last name at the moment. I like her too. I just saw her in Killers of the Flower Moon playing Lizzie Q. So these are not actors I have not seen before that I do not know can act. Right? They've already passed the smell test, so to speak. Now, the show, though, just I went into it with low expectations, and it just brought my expectations up to, yeah, I watched it. It was all right. There's some interesting stuff in there. And that's what it was. Now, I just spent the whole day, the rest of my day today out with Fracture Boys and Chris and Joe, and trying not to spoil this for Joe because he wanted to know about it. He hadn't finished watching it yet. And the one spoiler I had to give him that most people might watch this show for is they waiting to see Daredevil show up. And my biggest thing was, don't. There's nothing for you to see. This is not Daredevil's show. Yes, they tried to push it on that, but it's not Daredevil's show. Daredevil shows up for one episode and then he's gone. He pieces out. Now, I don't expect, or I did not expect him to be there for the whole show, but I did think that was pretty brief, especially since it just popped up in the first episode. It's like, gotcha, and now we're gone. Beyond that, um, the other cameo of being the Kingpin was a little bit more drawn out. You got more of him in at least 2 episodes out of the 5, but some of his motivation and some of the things he did were dumb and was not in keeping with the Kingpin from the Netflix shows, from the Daredevil show. That was very methodical and having well thought out plans and not prone to just doing ridiculous emotive acts. That didn't make any sense at all to me. Now, the story of Ekko is to pick up 5 months after the events of Hawkeye, where Ekko has shot Wilson Fisk and apparently been on the run since then. Now, if you didn't know about what happened in Hawkeye, it doesn't matter because they're going to relive all of it for you in the first episode, which I thought wasted a lot of time in the episode because it was too much flashback. It was just the episode, basically. All her appearances cut down into one. Now, be that as it may, we pick up with a little bit of history on Maya Lopez, played by Alaka Cox, and find out more about her father, her uncle, her grandmother, her mother, and what the situation was that led her and her father to end up back in New York before he was killed. Now, the other thing that you find out a lot about that was interesting to some extent was the origin of the Choctaw Nation or tribe. And I had not heard that origin story before, and I don't know how accurate it actually is. But it did have a very interesting side point to it of injecting a history and a lineage into this character, which made the name of the show and the name of the character actually resonate. Now, for that, I think the show did a fairly good job. Most people would probably watch this and not care anything about the Native American stuff that goes on in it. I, as an American born Black person, really appreciate the fact when I can see history and legacy on people that are in this country and understand they have a rich history, that they have a rich history you can look back on. For native born Black people, it always runs back to slavery. And before that, it gets a little spotty. So I appreciate seeing these stories of people who have their history intact and can recall it and know where they came from and who they descend from. I appreciate stories like that because it's not something that I actually have. Now, I'm pretty sure that most other people will watch that and not care about it at all. They just want the show to get on with the action. And it does that in its own way. It has action. But for me, it's not action that I actually believe. Yes, the fight scenes were bloody and then some things were serious. People were being killed. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, whatever. I watched The Punisher for that. I'm not buying the character as being badass because I'm not seeing the character doing anything more badass than anybody else could do. So for me, the character is really just falling flat. The story, her reason for being back in her hometown of Toma, Oklahoma, is interesting, but the fact that she came all the way back there within 5 months with heat still on her is a problem to me. That seems silly. The further silliness is that she believes that 5 months later, after she has supposedly killed the kingpin, that all of a sudden she can become the queenpin of his organization. For what reason? To what end? It makes no sense. Why would you even want that? And who do you think would accept you being there? Because there are a lot of people you're going to have to deal with and can probably take you out. Should be able to. Now, one of the things I thought was BS at first is that the series introduces the fact that Maya has powers. Now, this is true in the comic. Right now, in the comic, she is the host for the Phoenix Force. Why? Reasons. But in this show, they get to her having powers a little bit different. And the difference comes in the origin of the Choctaw people. Now, I will buy that to some extent, but I can tell you at the point in the series where her hands start glowing, all I was thinking of was that she's number five. That's it. That's what I was thinking of. That she's one of these other people from another series of books that were actually good, running around with glowing hands. So that was kind of bothering me a little bit. I still wasn't buying her being a badass and being able just to take out all these people because I'm looking at it and thinking, Elektra did this better. But there's no social message behind Elektra. This isn't. So I'm into the story. I'm liking some of the characters. Most of the time, I'm still wondering what does it matter. But at the end of the day, I'm not really taken with the character at all. It's it's a nuttin burger. I mean, I'm really wondering. Okay, I watched it, and so what? I mean, at different points in it, I was thinking of the Shang-Chi story. And the fact that her costume ended up being the same color scheme as Shang-Chi's, given to her for the same reasons as Shang-Chi's was, this new mother figure popped up and decided to give you a costume. It's like, I've seen this already. It was kind of disappointing in a sense. For me, how this show shakes out, it ended up looking like she is supposed to be now the Avatar. That it might as well have been Korra. Pretty much. Terrible attitude problems, but now you're a hero because you got all this power. Well, the sticking point for this one is Maya is a killer, and there is no come to Jesus moment for all these souls that she has taken in her time working for the Kingpin. And now I'm supposed to accept her completely as a hero. No, I don't. I don't make up for all the people you killed. It's just as ridiculous as thinking I was going to salute Yandu after he died in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. After it's already been shown, he shuttled a lot of kids to their death. No, I'm not saluting his ass because he saved one white boy. No, hell no. Now, that is the part that I have an issue with in the show. The other part of it is the very strong message that I got from this show. And it was basically said in the show from the Kingpin. Now, if you guys watch my channel, you already know I have an issue with What If season two. That there was a strong through line in there that I was not approving of. And it did me no joy to see in this Ekko series that through line continued. And that through line was you need to kill your father. Now, this is my major sticking point on this show. Before the end of the show, they got to a point where fratricide was equaled to freedom. That if you kill your father, you will be free. Now, I'm a father. That is the last god dang message I think you need to be pumping to anybody watching this show. That the greatest barrier to your being your own person is your father. Are you? You've got to be kidding me. Now, it was bad enough that I had to watch something animated to hear this through line message all the way through. Men are terrible leaders. They need to be replaced. Women need to step up, and you need to kill your father. That was bad enough hearing it in What If. To come to this live action show and have the line delivered that killing your father will make you free, I'm like, holy shit. Are you kidding me? That's something I can't rock with. I really can't. I cannot rock with this because I'm not seeing any movie, any TV show coming out and saying that your freedom is tied to you killing your mother. I'm not seeing that. So that message is really lost on me. I can't support that at all. And that fucks up the whole show for me. Now, maybe the writers meant something different. I don't know. But I can also say any heterosexual relationship was downplayed in this by anybody. It was downplayed. Even the two people in it who were supposed to be together at one time. Every man in this shit is sad. It needs to be following along with the women in the show. And every woman is a boss in her own right, stuck in the places that she don't even belong. And I'm not saying I have anything against women. I don't. But I know some of what I'm seeing, especially in the flashbacks and stuff like that, of different people down this family line. I have to sit there and think about it like, even a little bit that I know about a Native American culture, I don't ever remember them being in charge of shit. Not in the Native American culture. And I don't think that they were all misogynists. No, that is not what I know of that culture. So seeing that represented in this show over and over again, I'm like, okay, I get the message. You can stop trying to beat me over the head with it. Women powerful, women in charge. You got it. Got it. What else you got? So for me, that was a sticking point. That was the major sticking point. Beyond that, I could probably rock with the family lineage of special people. Look, it worked for the darkness. Passed on male child to male child. Okay, big deal. But the rest of this was just not grabbing me. I watched the show. I watched it. My expectations grew from where they were, but it didn't grow to the point where I would be clapping and thinking, yeah, everybody needs to watch this. No, you really don't. Because what is it really leading into? And what does it really matter? Is she now going to be an Avenger? I guess she got a superhero costume. So I guess by the time they get around to Avengers 5, she'll be there and they'll figure out a way to give her the Phoenix Force. I don't know. Other than that, the character is unremarkable. Even in the comic book, all her ability is ripped off of other characters. Photographic reflexes, and I can mimic what you do. All I have to do is see it, and I can duplicate what you do. Then that makes you no better than anybody else. And that's the same power that's been working in the MCU for these women for a while. You just described Shang-Chi's sister's ability to watch and become better than everybody who actually has to train with another person. That was lame. And you know what? Taskmaster does a good enough job being able to have photographic reflexes. This, I guess she just went in because I'm not believing the hard hitting shot she's giving the grown men. I'm not believing that at all. Maybe when she sparked her hands up and got some you know ancient powers, but not before that. So for me, I came, I saw, I watched it. I'm not that damn impressed. I'm not that disappointed. It's just a yeah. If you want to watch it on a Sunday and binge something for a couple of hours, you can do that. You can probably find something in there you like too. But it's not changing anything else. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this. Um, yeah, Echo. Um, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Click the bell so you can get the alerts. And I will see you guys next time. Peace.